Well, today is Mission Sunday here at the Well Worship Center, and we'll do this once, sometimes twice a year. And the reason is because here at the Well, we are one of the most mission-oriented, mission-focused churches that you'll ever attend. And honestly, we just do too much to pack it into a little 5-minute, let the people come up after a mission trip and say what they did. In fact, I don't even know how many mission trips we're taking this year. It's somewhere between 6 and 9. And we are constantly going and doing and serving here at the Well. And I want to take some time this morning to let you know what we do, how we do it, why we do it. It is true that we support mission organizations here like most churches do. We have a handful of organizations that every month, the first week of the month, we cut a check to just to support the work that they do. However, here at the Well, the major majority of the mission work that we do is done by our hands, our feet, our people who are investing their time, their treasures, their talents to go onto the mission field and to work the mission field. And so we've done a lot of stuff over the years. We started in Haiti. I don't even know how many trips we've done to Haiti. We've got missions to Mexico, missions to the Philippines, and missions to Honduras. Locally, we have homeless missions. We'll talk a little bit more about those as we progress. So why do we go? Why are we doing all of these things? Well, the answer is first and foremost, we're commanded to. We are commanded to go and make disciples. And I thank God for the church building. I thank God that we have a place that you can invite people to come and hear the Word of God preached. I love the church, and I thank God for what God's given us, but this is only one way that we are to reach people. We need to be going to where people are, and we need to be engaging them and reaching them where they're at. And so that's one of the reasons we go. The second reason is, quite honestly, the Lord has burned in my heart and my wife, Andrea, in her heart. The Lord has just burned into our hearts missions. And so because we lead this church and I'm the lead pastor here, it's like impossible for it to not kind of overflow to the work and ministry of the Well Worship Center. But we love the mission field. We love going and serving people. We love encouraging churches around the globe. It's something we love doing. If you ever get a chance to check out our house, you'll see we've got missions up all over the walls. We've got pictures of people from all over the world. I mean, this is important to us. It's not just something that we do. It is someone that we are, and it impacts the vision and focus here at the Well also. And later, we're going to share with you guys some of the upcoming mission trips that we've got going on that you can support, that you can join us if you want to join us. But before that, I want to take some time this morning to talk about extra mile missions. You're going to hear that term occasionally here at the Well, extra mile missions. And so, first of all, what is it and why was it established? Originally, all the missions that we did just started with the Well Worship Center. But as our missions continued to grow and expand, it became very clear that the need was too much just for our little church to meet. And thus, EMM, or Extra Mile Missions, was birthed. And as I continue to talk a little bit more about what we do, we've got a lot of other churches now that are getting on board and helping with what's going on the mission field. We're helping enable and encourage and equip other churches to do a lot of the same work that we've been doing here at the Well for many years. And Extra Mile Missions now is what I would call almost like we do most of the planning for the trips the Well takes. When we talk about the trips later that you can help with or support, Extra Mile Missions on the back end is doing all of the planning. We're doing all the ticket purchasing. We're hiring the translators. We're making sure we got staff on board. We're taking care of transportation and vehicles in country. We're taking care of all the food, all that type of stuff. Someone has to figure that out so that when we get a team over and we're over there serving, we've got vehicles, we've got translators, we've got food to put in the bellies of our team, we've got places to lay our head at night. And so Extra Mile Missions handles all of that in the background. Extra Mile Missions only has two main objectives. It's really that simple. And I want to talk about what is our objectives or the goals of Extra Mile Missions. Number one, quite simple, making disciples. That is our number one objective, is by equipping churches to better reach their communities. This is one of the things that is somewhat different and unique to Extra Mile Missions on the mission field, is that our primary goal in making disciples is helping churches better reach their community. One of the kind of modern day American mindsets of missions is that we travel somewhere and we set up a big tent and we invite a bunch of people in, and I preach really hard, and 100 people pray after me and repeat the sinner's prayer, and we come back home and tell everybody 100 people got saved, and that's missions. The problem with that is that if we're not actually connecting those people to local churches where they can be discipled and grow in their faith, it's an untold multitude, a high percentage of those people that don't actually follow through. And so our mindset is that rather than coming in and doing that, what we want to do is we vet churches. We sit down, we meet with leadership, we meet with pastors, and there's a process that we have where we vet a church and approve a church to partner with Extra Mile Missions. And our job then is to come in and put some fuel on the fire, to provide resources they might not have access to otherwise, and to help that church reach its community and make disciples. In our opinion, starting hundreds of churches doesn't help much. We would rather strengthen the ones that exist, and we believe that, generally speaking, people within the community of that native community, if I'm wanting to reach people in Honduras, as an organization, we're going to do a much better job doing it if I can get connected with good pastors and good, solid, God-believing, Bible-believing teachers in churches. If I can come alongside them and help them reach their people, they're going to do a better job making disciples of their people than I will. And so this is the main way we make disciples. The second objective that we have is simply this: caring for the poor. And it's definitely a heartbeat of ours, providing care and support to children and families that live in some of the most impoverished communities on the earth. In most cases, when we make a decision to go in somewhere and commit somewhere, so far, I say most cases, but so far, in all cases, the only churches that we partner with are churches that are working in extremely high poverty areas and just don't have access to resources. So how do we make disciples and care for the poor? There are three primary ways that we do this. The first is through child sponsorship. And if you've been here at the well any length of time, you're familiar with our child sponsorship. So we have a child sponsorship program where we try to connect American sponsors with kids around the world through sponsorship. And so what that looks like is we'll have one of the churches that we partner with at the Well Worship Center. We partner with 2 churches in Honduras. And our goal is to sponsor all the kids in that church from you folks. And then a couple times a year, we'll ask all of you guys to write letters, and we'll take those letters and we'll get them over to Honduras, and the kids will write letters and they'll send them back. And then when we go do mission trips as teams, you all get to go over and see the very kids that you're sponsoring, and you get to spend time with them, and you get to meet their families. And this is a big deal to the kids. The most important piece to the child, what matters most to the child, is that relationship with their American sponsor. It's not possible for me to put it into words. I promise you that it's not. And it's not possible for me to over-exaggerate it. But most people, no matter how hard I try to explain it, do not believe me when I say that sponsorship changes their lives. You just don't know, though, because you haven't been born and raised where they have been. You don't know what it's like to all of a sudden, for some reason, an American, which they think way more highly of us than they should, but I'm just being honest with you, they do, that an American would care enough to select them and make the decision to help them through their life, get through school, make sure they have nutrition, make sure that they got medical care. And that little kid finds out that, you sponsored that kid, and you start writing letters, and they start writing letters. I mean this sincerely. It's like Christmas to them. It is one of the most significant things that happens in their entire life. And so here's some of the things that happen through child sponsorship. We talk about how does this make disciples. Well, first of all, child sponsorship fosters spiritual growth. The reason that it fosters spiritual growth is because in order to be part of our program, you have to go to church. This is also one of the reasons we vet the churches we work with. We make sure that they've got the right teachers and the right people in place and the right, I would even call it, energy and passion to be reaching their community. And then we help start programs there where the kids from that community can come to that program, and they must be there. They must attend regularly every week, where in that program, so it's where they get their food, it's where they get, certain other things and aspects of the ministry that come along with sponsorship, but they get the Bible every single week of their life. And that's just one. I have to be careful with my time this morning. I could talk about Extra Mile Missions literally for 4 or 5 hours. But this is one of the ways we make disciples. Instead of just one big evangelism bang and having 100 kids repeat a prayer, we've got hundreds of kids that are now going to church every single week of their life, hearing the gospel taught every single week of their life. And when that happens over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, it's a game changer. In addition to the spiritual growth that is a part of our child sponsorship program, the kids get education. Now, this is especially true in the Philippines. Especially true in Honduras. We're about to launch in the Philippines, and while we will help with education there, it needs to be known that in the Philippines, kids are going to school. But in Honduras, where we're doing our work in Honduras, most of the kids were dropping out 2nd and 3rd grade. The goal was to get far enough that you could simply read. That was what all their parents did. We are in the mountains of Honduras. Many of the families that we care for hundreds of years, their family's just been on the mountain. And pretty much you just barely need to learn to read, and then you start working as a farmer the rest of your life. And so there was this mindset that why do we even need education beyond 2nd or 3rd grade? And then in addition to that, most of the families there making between $80 and $120 a month simply could not afford the supplies that were required to go to school. And so they would work to do what it took to get their kids through kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade so that they could sort of read. And then it was like, we don't have the money to continue sending you to school every year. Our program, sponsorship, provides everything the kids need: their shoes, their backpack, their supplies, our older kids' uniforms when they need uniforms. It provides everything they need to be able to go to school, which makes it a lot easier for mom and dad to say, okay, well, sure, if it doesn't cost us anything, you can go. Nutrition is something that we provide as well. Nutrition is, we do food every week, and most of the food that we do is infused with vitamins that these kids are not getting. A lot of times, especially in these high impoverished areas, they're just eating the same thing every day over and over and over again. If corn happens to be in harvest, they're getting corn for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or just once a day they're getting corn. But it's corn. And so consequently, you end up with just kids that, it's not like they have no food to eat. It's not like they're dying of starvation, but they are certainly not getting the nutrition they need to develop correctly. We help provide that. We do medical care. We do a lot of medical care. This is one that I just chose to not show a bunch of this morning because I could do an entire hour on the medical care that we do. And if you guys follow Troy Caps, you know that Troy's constantly taking kids to doctors. We've done some major stuff. We've done some major surgeries. And then once a year, we do a great big team where we take a team over for 1 or 2 weeks. We provide medical and dental care to all the kids in the program. And then the final piece of our child sponsorship is just that sponsor relationship. And it is so important. And I will just say I'm like super proud of our sponsors. We have, when we talk to other organizations that do sponsorship programs, we are one of the absolute we have the highest percentage of involved sponsors of anywhere I've ever heard of. I mean, it's seriously nuts. It's like 95% of the literally hundreds, plural, of people that sponsor kids. They're involved. They write their letters. They get the backpacks. They're sending personalized stuff. And there's no way for me to tell you the impact that it's having on the kids. Please keep it up. And so that's our child sponsorship piece. And our goal in child sponsorship, the thing about child sponsorship that tugs my heart is different from what tugs my wife's heart. I do love kids, and I've actually come to love kids even more the older I've got. But my wife really loves kids. And for her, that's the most significant piece of that child sponsorship program. I'm just telling you, for me, the heartbeat of a pastor, man, I love it that these kids are going to they're getting the Word of God every week. And I know that long term, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, these churches that we're operating in are going to be healthier and stronger as these kids are being taught and trained properly growing up. And I see it helping build the church. So we're making disciples through our sponsorship program. Kids attend church. We see families follow. The first church that the Well Worship Center partnered with is a church in an area called Kanoa. And when we started, there was like 45 kids in the church. The church as a whole was running 100 to 125 total people. That was in 2018, so it's really not that long ago, 6 years ago. Now that program has about 150 students in it. We are reaching just about everybody in that community we can. And the church has gone from about 125 to 250. And 3 or 4 years ago, if you guys remember, we helped provide a second story for that church so that they could get more people in it. We took the first story, which was just a big square, put it into classrooms so that now that program has a place to run classrooms. All of that is a direct result of the sponsorship program, and those are the things that make my heart just burst when I look at a church growing and reaching its community. So families end up following, kids grow up hearing the gospel. We provide Extra Mile Missions, we provide resources and training to the teachers. Every single church that we have started a program in has expanded. Let that sink in. That is an awesome thought. Every single one of them. And so this program is working as we go into the world and make disciples. The second thing that we do in order to make disciples is we do mission teams. And we do a lot of mission teams. Extra Mile Missions leads between 12 to 15 international trips a year. Yes, on average, more than one a month we are organizing and running. And of that number, about 60 to 70% of them are trips for here at the Well Worship Center. But this year we're doing 3 trips for churches in Wichita. We've got a trip for a church out in North Carolina. And that number just continues to grow and expand. And so how do mission trips, how do they help us make disciples? Well, here's one of the secrets about mission trips. First of all, it impacts you. Now, I know we're over there to serve them, but mission trips impact the church that's going over to serve. Experiencing the mission field changes a person's life. Most of the people who travel with us on a mission think to themselves, this is a bucket list thing. I've got to do this. Or they think, I just got to go once and just see what's going on. We have about an 80% return rate. People who go once, 80% of the time, they go again and again and again and again. And it's because missions impact you personally as an individual. They impact the atmosphere of the church that serves. Missions teams build relationships that often just you can't build here. You get people that are serving together for an entire week, and you fly across the world together, or you drive down to Mexico together, and you're staying together, and you know there's hours of conversation about, hey, where did you grow up? Tell me about you. You begin to build some relationships. You're serving alongside each other, sometimes in some pretty difficult locations that are kind of heart-wrenching, and you share that experience with somebody, and then you come back home, and it's just a fact. You're closer here. And so missions, I'm a huge fan of missions, not only because of what it allows us to do globally, but because of what I know it does for the church. I've seen it happen with our own. I'm watching it happen with these other churches that Extra Mile Missions is planning trips for and leading out on the field. And we're seeing the very act of getting outside of ourselves, not being so focused on us, and going and serving others. We're watching it actually bring a unifying power to the church. Missions will change the culture of a church. I've watched it, and I promise it. Next, our mission trips, when we do, not only does it help you, but we go and we serve these churches that we partner with, and we help them reach their communities. Some of the things that we do, VBS, Vacation Bible School. This particular image here that's up on the screen is a Vacation Bible School that we are allowed to hold in a public school. When they know that we're coming and we're going to have a VBS, the school literally gives us the keys. And they shut down for the day. But the kids still have to come. And we have the kids. And about half of the kids at this school attend our program. The other half do not. And so it's our opportunity to be able to spend an entire day with the other kids, give them a little look at what we do at our program, and share the gospel with them as well. And so a lot of our trips, we'll do Vacation Bible School type activities. Sometimes we do service projects. A service project's going to be maybe, pouring concrete somewhere that it's needed, putting a roof on a building that might be needed, but literally kind of picking up the hammer and doing some work. We do medical missions. Our medical mission stuff is always a huge blessing. What you're seeing here, we brought in a portable sonogram machine. And it was an awesome thing. We had mamas lining up to see their babies, and we were able to catch a couple of situations that could have actually been life-threatening had they not got caught. One of the most heart-wrenching things that we experience a lot is kids with worms. I mean, it's heart-wrenching. And sometimes there are so many, and they're large enough, they're even showing up on a sonogram machine. And so one of the things that we do, the sponsorship does provide, we provide deworming medicine twice a year to the kids. But our medical missions, not only do we take teams, and we take teams and we do mission work. In Honduras, we've got a staff there that is constantly helping make sure that when we have people in our communities that need medical care, that they're getting the right medical care. One of the things that I want to do real quick, I want to give you a kind of a picture of what a trip might look like. We normally make a video of every team that we take, and so this is a video that you're about to watch here of one of our teams, a backpack distribution team, and then I'll share with you a little more after that. You might even, I don't know, I can't tell, but you might want to kill those lights if it helps.
Me siento alegre porque me están apoyando para ir a la escuela.
Porque esto ya le sirve a uno, no los compra a su mamá, esto te sirve para ir al colegio, la mochila, pues cuando viene gente emoción. feliz porque ya recibí mi mochila. Ya falta poco para entrar a la escuela. Con la ayuda de Dios vamos a ser muy buenos estudiantes.
So excited to be here. We are in San Jose handing out backpacks in their community, and we are so excited to meet the kids. Have a great day.
Estoy feliz porque en esta fecha recibo la mochila y me sirve para estudiar, para ir al colegio. Y todos los años que mencionan las mochilas que vienen, me sorprende y las espero muy feliz.
Muchas gracias por la mochila, estoy feliz y estoy listo para ir a la escuela. Muchas gracias por todo lo que me han mandado y muchas gracias por la mochila. Hola, somos hermanos y estamos muy felices por la mochila. Muchas gracias.
Just grow up with a good education.
All right, so all of that footage was from 1 week. That was one team, one trip. And give you a good idea, there's always a lot going on. We work hard to accomplish as much as we can in a week, maximize everybody's time and their willingness to go over and serve. But that is a great kind of look of like what to expect if you want to travel with the Well on a mission. You could tell that trip there was one of the Well Worship Center's mission trips. We had a couple of folks that had joined us from other churches, but about 95% of those people you saw, if you look around, you see them here this morning. And so mission teams is one of the ways that we work to make disciples and care for the poor. And then finally, in number 3, the third thing that Extra Mile Missions does to try to make disciples and care for the poor is what we call kingdom partnerships. And this program really started at the Well. And a kingdom partnership is when a church commits to caring for another church for the long haul. It's a program that's only for churches that want to be involved in missions for a very long time. And as far as we know, our hope here at the Well is until Jesus comes back to continue to partner with the 2 churches that we partner with in Honduras, and hopefully one that we might pick here in the Philippines in September, and then also the one that we work with down in Mexico. But one of the things that we struggle with over the years, for those of you that were here many years ago, you know Haiti was very hard on us. We took, I don't know, I think 10 or 13 trips into Haiti. We tried very hard to do something that was measurable there, and it just seemed like we would constantly go. There was nothing we could measure. There was no growth. You know, I was able to tell you just a minute ago, one of the churches that we had started with about 125 people, and it's over 250. That's a measurable unit that we can look at and say, we've been here, we've invested time, we've invested money, and we're seeing the church grow. We just didn't have that in Haiti. And so God ended up leading us to Honduras, and the Well Worship Center connected with 2 churches there to start, and we built what I call a kingdom partnership. And that here's what it looks like. You know, we come in and we say, hey, we're not here to change who you are as a church. And we just vet churches. It doesn't matter if they're Pentecostal, doesn't matter if they're Baptist, it doesn't matter. As long as they are Bible-believing Protestant churches, we'll vet a church, and it's like, listen, we're here to help. What can we do to help you reach your people? And we commit for the long haul of doing that and being there. And one of the things that happens through kingdom partnerships is the pastor here on the American side gets direct access to the pastor on the international side, and we communicate. And so even though in Extra Mile Missions is facilitating that relationship for the Well and a handful of other churches, the pastor of a partnership has direct contact with the pastor of the church that they are partnering with. That way they can communicate. That way the church can know the needs in real time if there's a need that comes up. One of the things that happens is what I call whole service or entire church service projects. And so we might find that there's a need, such as we did with the roof project in Canoa, and we'll give the entire church an opportunity to help meet that need. We've done some cool things at the Well. Not only have we put a roof on last year, we installed or built 2 new bathrooms that needed built really bad for the church in San Jose that we partner with. We help them add on to that building. We help provide windows and doors and tile and all sorts of stuff so that the church, because it's grown and it's expanded a little bit, is able to minister better to its people. And when we go, now we have bathrooms, so that's also a big bonus. Especially for those of you that went to San Jose before we had bathrooms, you know it's really nice that we have 2 nice bathrooms there, but we get to use them twice a year. When we go, they get to use them year-round. And so these are service projects that Kingdom Partnerships do. Right here you're looking at Pastor Jason Bruns and his wife Anna with Pastor Alexander, and I don't remember his wife's name, but this is a church that we've partnered them with. It has nothing to do with the Well. It meets in the same area, but it is our latest addition as a kingdom partnership. An Evidence Church out of Wichita is partnering with these folks and trying to help them reach their people. And one of the cool things about partnerships is that we try to let exclusive sponsorship happen at that church. And so Pastor Alexander's church, they're going to have kids that need sponsored. We're going to try to make sure that those kids get sponsored at Evidence. And so it really starts to build a long-term, lifelong, deep relationship. All I can say is it's been really cool for us here at the Well. Some of us experienced it, and Extra Mile Missions is working to help other churches experience this as well. And so I want to wrap it up here on as far as talking about Extra Mile Missions, and I'm going to have my wife come up and share with you a little bit about what we have going on with the well. Our theme at Extra Mile Missions is united, we accomplish more. And we believe that when we come together and we unite together, we just do more and we accomplish more. Our goal is to unite American churches with international churches, pastors with pastors, people with people. And it's like we just we're the liaison between it all, just trying to help it all connect and then step back and let the relationships form authentically. But united, we accomplish more. So how can you help? A couple of ways that you can help. You can join us on a mission trip. And I'm telling you, if you can join us on a mission trip, it'll help you. It just helps continue to expand the relationships and the ministries. Andrew's going to share with you here in a moment some of the mission trips that we have coming up, but that's one of the ways that you can help join us on a mission trip. You can always donate to the work. I think I've got the website up here in a moment, extramilemissions.org. We also have our own app. You can download the Extra Mile Missions app, and you'll find most of your questions can be answered at our website or the app, but you can donate to the work. And we give you the option to donate very specifically, whether you want to do general fund, you want to help with food in Mexico, you want to help with what's going on in Batangas, Philippines with Pastor Ephraim Camacho. We've just recently launched a branch in Manila, and we've actually got a guy over in Manila right now that's working to get that all set up. Very excited about that. There are a couple times a year that you can do help us with backpacks. You can help with Christmas gifts. We do shoe boxes every year that we take down to Mexico and deliver hundreds of gifts to kids in Mexico. There's just a lot of different ways to get involved. If you're interested, let us know. Check out the website and figure out how you can get involved. And so with all that said, that's what Extra Mile Missions is. Over the years, there has been just some curiosity, right? People are like, hey, so what's the well? What's Extra Mile Missions? Why do we have two? Well, quite honestly, Extra Mile Missions is just large enough that we needed to do it. We've got our own separate board. Of that board, Jason Bruns happens to be on the board. Everybody else happens to be members of the well. It is a ministry that is really operated by the people of the well, but we do have our own separate 501c3, and it's just grown to that place. We've got employees around the world, and quite frankly, it was like, we need to have our separate group here so that we can operate it correctly. But make no mistake about it, this is the Well Worship Center is what God's called me to pastor and lead. God has put missions on my heart, and we've done the best we can to try to organize something that works well. But this is home. You don't need to worry about me and Andrea leaving y'all and going and spending our life on the mission field, not anytime soon anyways. Not 10, 15 years at least. We are here. This is what God's called us to. We just have a passion for missions and a passion for helping people get involved. And you will continue to see here at the well, we will be involved in missions. Andrea, if you would come, I'm going to have Andrea share with you guys some of the things that we have going on, including, I think we've got almost 50 kids that have been recently added to our two churches, 50 new kids into the program. You're going to have to use this one, because Tony broke that one.
Chris is telling me to use this one.
Chris, that one?
He's the boss.
Tony didn't break it? He did break it, but you fixed it.
Hello.
Okay. You're on.
I'm on? All right. Well, Chris is the boss of the music, so I'm going to
Okay,
go with
you
what
got
Chris
it.
says. Good morning. We have a lot of exciting things coming up ministry-wise to do if you would like to get involved with missions. First of all, we have homeless ministry. And so if you're interested in being a part of homeless ministry, they serve twice a month, on the first Saturday of the month and on the third Saturday. And AJ and LaDonna Fischermeyer run that. And you can get involved. They go downtown Wichita, and they serve lunches to anybody that's willing to come in a certain area, and then afterwards they walk around and they pray for people and kind of look for different opportunities that they can share the gospel to those willing. So you can find that information on our app as well, and their contact information is on there. So
The Well Worship Center app.
Yes,
yeah,
on the
upcoming
Well app.
events.
And so that's homeless ministry, and then they do things on holidays and different times of year as well. So make sure and stay tuned to the app for more things or not first and the third. And then our Mexico, we have a trip coming up this summer in July to Mexico, and that trip is really awesome. It's driving. We drive from here to El Paso, Texas. We stay in El Paso, Texas, and then cross the border daily, and we work with 3 different areas, and in those 3 areas, during the summer, we provide backpacks. We don't have a sponsorship program there, but we do provide backpacks for them to go to school, and so that's part of that trip. We also have a feeding center. Joplin mentioned that a little bit, and so you can be a part of the feeding time that we do in one of the areas, as well as we try to host a vacation Bible school, often a 1 day in each location, and so you can find that information on the Well app as well. And then Honduras. Honduras, we have a June team going. It's the very last half of June, first part of July. And you don't have to be high school and young adult, but we are encouraging anybody that age to kind of, as many of you as can, go and be a part of that team, get to know each other, serve with one another. And the highlight of that one is going to be Vacation Bible School. So we will be doing Vacation Bible School with the students that are in our centers. And so that information you can find on the app as well. And then on any of those, if you have questions, I'm going to be at the Welcome Center right after service, and you can pick my brain. Like Joplin said, we could probably talk for days on missions and give you all the information that you need. And then lastly, we have a trip in September that's going to go to the Philippines, and we are excited about that. I haven't been to the Philippines in a while, so I'm looking forward to that. But we're going to start helping do some ministry things there and start a sponsorship program in several areas. So if you'd like to be a part of that, you can get on the app as well and be a part of that. So real quickly with the Honduras, we have 52 brand new students that we have added to our program, the 2 different programs, just this backpack season. So if you haven't sponsored a student and you would like to sponsor a student, we have cards for kids out at the Welcome Center as well. And those kids, they just enrolled and they just started school, and so you can pick those up and sponsor them. Like Joplin said, you can do backpacks for them, you can write letters for them, and get signed up for them. So if you have questions on that, I can answer that for you as well. And then one last thing that I just wanted to mention was that we offer a special thing for high school students. So if you're a high school student, one time while you are in your high school career, we will help you get on one of these mission trips for half price. We really believe that missions is life-changing. I know the first time that I went on a trip, I have never been the same. I look at life different, and it's easier to not take little things for granted. And so it's life-changing. So if you are a high school student, we strongly encourage you to utilize that while you can. And you can find the information for that one on the Extra Mile Missions app. But we can get you the information if you would just like to know more. So that's all I have.
Thank you. I will say to that, on one of the things that motivated us to do the half price for high school students was a long-term study by George Barna that I had read that it shook me a little bit. And that was that kids who are raised in church, kids who attend youth group going up through high school, kids that go to church regularly with their parents, 80% of them are no longer attending church at the age of 20. It's a huge number. Only 20% are still attending church on their own at the age of 20 regularly. That number flips to 80% attendance 2 years later when that child or high school student attends an international, it must be international, I'm just telling you what George Barna's study was, an international mission trip before graduating high school. And so you go from 20% chance that they'll be in church in 2 years to 80% chance. That's a 400% increase by simply attending the mission field. And for that reason, we said we've got to do whatever we can to inspire and motivate teens to get out here and experience a mission field. And so we're going to continue to do that. And it's just one of the things we do need support for, because so far we have never said no. We had one church, and we are pumped to take this church. We've got one church that we're taking this summer that has 9 students who wouldn't be able to go otherwise. We're taking 9 kids and giving all 9 of them their 50% off discount so that they could come as a group. And I think this year our organization will probably do this for about 20 to 25 high school students. And so it's one of the things that we are very blessed to do, excited to do. And then I just want to mention on the Philippines trip, if you want to join us this year at the Philippines, we're actually going to be going over and starting 6 different locations for kingdom partnerships. We're going to try to come back home, get all 6 of those churches connected with churches here in the States. I'm hopeful that possibly the Well can connect with one of those 6, and we can have a kingdom partnership with a church in the Philippines. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to basically visit 6 small mission churches that are in very rural, poorer areas. And we are going to meet with their pastors, meet with their staff, talk to them about how our program works. We're going to be obtaining information on all the kids in the program and trying to get that ready so that we can come back and then be able to present it to individual churches that might be willing to consider a kingdom partnership. And so very excited about that. Guys, this is the Well Worship Center. This is our heartbeat. This is what we do. We are a mission-minded church, and appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share that with you this morning. I'm going to ask, we're going to close this morning in a word of prayer. I'm going to ask Raul Osaida. Where are you at, brother? If you would work your way up. This is Raul. Him and his wife, Norma, lead our ministry in Mexico. And what's amazing is the church that we work with and the pastor of the church was Raul's pastor when he was a boy. And so it's pretty cool to be able to go back and help there. But Raul leads us there in Mexico, and I was just going to have him close this and pray for all the missions we do here at the Well.
Thank you, Pastor. Well, you heard it all. There's so many stories we can tell you about. You can pick some of us that have gone over there to Juarez, Mexico, and on this part of the mission trip, and we can tell you all kinds of stories. Every trip is different experiences, but we see how God has changed lives of people. Us going over there, and people over there too that live over there, how God improved their life when they come to Christ. Their life starts changing, and then we get to see the videos, we get to see the phone calls about it, and He blesses us to see how God's making their life better.